it's an incredible thrill to be on this set of this astonishing production of this astonishing play, talking to the two of you. I'm an enormous fan, as you know. I saw you downtown. And so when I got called and asked if I would do this, I said I'd be thrilled. And I could go on and on and on and on, but my husband, who thinks that I gush too much when I do these things, and who knows what a demented fan I am of the show, and both of you said, as I was leaving, just ask them questions and don't fangirl and embarrass yourself and embarrass them. So I can't even describe the internal struggle that's going on right now, but I'm sure I'll squeeze it in. So I'm going to do like, and hi, everybody. It's not, I'm going to do like a really simple thing. We're going to start with at the beginning with the writing of the play, and then talk about the production, and then talk about the move from downtown to uptown and keeping a play like this going. So, nothing that you haven't already been asked 100 million times this week, probably.
Sure.
So I was listening to the wonderful interview that you did with Mo Rocha for CBS Sunday Morning, which if you haven't seen, it's amazing, and the whole thing is on. You can just get it on
YouTube
the internet or whatever.
It's crazy these days what they put out there. Yeah.
I noticed with a lot of ads for women mixing up pink Himalayan sea salt and cucumbers to help them, I'm not making this up, poop, so that they could fit into their wedding dresses. And
those ads for that interview?
In that interview, it stops.
So
you're talking, and it stops.
Are there any bloated brides to be here tonight? Our target audience?
I thought somebody has seen your work downtown because they were really targeting that. So, but in the interview, you said this beautiful thing. You said that you loved, when you first came up with the idea, you loved it so much that you were nervous about putting it down on paper because you didn't want it to disappoint you. And you said this gorgeous thing, I didn't want to plant the seed and get an ugly flower, which I have to now pin over my writing desk, because that's why I take 18 years to write anything. It's the exact same feeling. So talk to us about the beginning of the idea, the germination of the seed.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, as part of that, what's your earliest sense of, earliest memory of being aware of Abraham Lincoln and Mary Lincoln, and like how, because
I wanted to write the show from the same sort of third grade knowledge that we all have of the Lincolns. Because then, if everyone has the same expectations, everyone will laugh at the same subversion of those expectations. I had the idea in 2009, what if Abraham Lincoln's assassination wasn't such a bad thing for Mary Todd? And I didn't know what the story was going to be yet. At first, I thought it might be like, sort of like, I say like a Nancy Myers style, now I get to begin anew, like starting over. Like, what do I want for me? But then I had the idea of the love story between her and Booth, and then at first it was going to be that Booth shoots Lincoln so that they can be together. And then I was like, well, what's Abe's story? And then I was like, oh, gay. And then I was like, wait, gay plus love affair. And I was like, what if I stack the surprises at the end? And also, I was really inspired by The Graduate because everything happens in the last 10 minutes of The Graduate. It's just like boom, 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 and then you're just sort of like left like soaring off of all of these surprises. And I was like, I wonder if I loved that feeling so much, I wanted to capture a version of that. And but then I was so scared of, because as a writer, I'm sure often you write something, it just doesn't match what you had in your head. Or it matches what you had in your head, but then you get it made, and then it really doesn't match what you had in your head, and you think, is it because I'm a bad writer that I didn't get it right the first time? Anyway,
So when in the astonishing body of work that you produced before everybody began to know who you were, like with Difficult People and Search Party and so on. Yeah, I mean, completely amazing.
Please. This is theater. We're not here to celebrate television, okay?
Just a little bit. But in the stuff that you were in the online skits and in the show at Joe's Pub, did you have the same sort of writing issues back then? I mean, was this the first time that you had tried to write something that you would call a play?
Yeah. This was the first time that I tried to write something with an arc. And I do feel like I was writing like solo sketch shows for like 3.5 or 5 years or whatever. And I feel like writing sketches taught me how to write scenes, but I didn't know if I could write enough scenes that made a whole piece together. And so that was scary to me as well. And I was like, what if I try that and it turns out I'm better at 2 minutes and that's it. Yeah.
And so when you sat down to write a full-length play, did you have a sense of like how long you wanted it to be in advance, or
I knew that I wanted it to be shorter than long. Like I wanted it. Sam and I both always want this show to leave people wanting more. We always wanted the show to stay ahead of the audience so that it was like a fun ride, and like we wanted it to feel like after it's over, you're like, I want to get back in line and go again.
Right.
So
which absolutely is what you feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen in many interviews that you've done, you've said that you're the perfect person to have written this story of Mary Lincoln because you don't know anything about her.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great answer. But is that really true? Did you do any reading about the Lincolns when you were?
I knew from watching like the first 20 minutes of Ken Burns' Civil War documentary. I knew that she would go to New York on these spending sprees during the Civil War and was redecorating the White House, and that she would, and that people just sort of hated her for being frivolous and liking nice things. And I really just related to that because I was like, well, what is she supposed to do? She's like, okay, you have to stay in this house and act sad. And that's it. That's all you can do as the First Lady. And she's like, well, no, I'm going to New York. I'm going to go shopping. Yeah.
When I started working on it, I did buy a biography of Mary Todd Lincoln online, but it was never delivered.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten it.
I think that was someone protecting us.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I feel more connected to Laura Keene, who was the actress and producer of Our American Cousin. And before our show opened, I went to visit her grave because she's buried in Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn. And I brought her yellow roses, and I asked her to protect us from bad reviews. And then after the reviews came out, I was like, oh shit, I gotta go back. Like and so now I've been several times to be like, okay,
Thank
look,
her.
for the Broadway transfer. Look, nominations are tomorrow. But
because Laura knows something about a bad first night.
Well,
I mean, it was
exactly.
like-
Well, that was the last time I went there specifically. I was like, I can't ask her for things every time I go. So I was like, I'm gonna go one trip and just say thanks. And then, so I went. The last time I went was just to say thank you, and I realized I was like, I don't know if I actually believe or I don't. I'm right in the middle. But anyway, I was like, maybe she is looking. I was like, why would she be looking out for this play? And I was like, maybe she's happy that someone is turning that night into a piece of fun theater. I don't know. It could be.
and she might be very pissed off at the
Oh,
Lincolns
absolutely.
because they
Yeah.
showed up and then the show closed in the
Yeah.
theater, so that was the end of it.
Yeah.
When I saw it downtown at the Lucille Lortel, it was especially poignant for me because that's where we had Larry Kramer's memorial service. I think just a few months before we had to delay it because of COVID, and I think it was just a few months before O'Mary moved in and opened there, and Larry and I sort of had a very hard time because the minute I agreed to write Lincoln for Spielberg, it ended my friendship with Larry for years because I sat down to have lunch with him and he said, "You're making gay?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if he was gay, Larry." And he said, "Ah!" And then that was it. And during the endless sort of back and forths trying to reconnect with him, which was a hard thing to do. I loved him dearly, and he was a great man. But at one point, he said, "You know about John Wilkes Booth, right?" And I said, "What, Larry?" And he said, "Well, you know, he was gay, and he was a rent boy, and there was another rent boy who John Wilkes Booth. That's right, John Wilkes Booth and Abraham Lincoln were both using the same rent boy, and they were having a lover spend. That's why So I thought, if Larry could have seen this, he would have been so happy. He would have really, this play he would have been crawling up on stage. So I was really, I think the play is magnificently written. I think it's a real work of literature. And I got this edition. Is this just like Tony voter stuff? Or
I think so.
There's an annotated script. It's kill somebody if you have to, but get a copy of it because it's amazing. And the whole cast, Sam, Cole, the designers all talk about the show as well. Of course, I immediately flipped to make sure that, Louise likes to put ice cream on her pussy. I wanted to read that line. Okay, so that's canonical. So I'm really impressed with, you have an amazing ear for detail. It's in your acting and as well, but in the language. At one point when you were talking to Mo Roca, and he asked if it was really true that I think that your father chased your family out of the trailer, and you said, no, MGM made that up to build up my story.
Yeah.
And I thought, how great. That term, to build up my story, is so much out of the Hollywood era, and the script is also just completely. There's a sense of epithets and epigrams that's worthy of Oscar Wilde. It's really that. So I think that this is an astonishing work of literature. I just wanted to say that because I think it's
thanks. Thank you.
A serious piece of writing. So, all right, let's keep moving because I'm going to run out of time. I wrote all these quotes that I wanted to. I don't make futons. If I wanted to make something for dirty frat boys to piss on, I wouldn't have had a gay son. That's
sure,
one of
sure. Thanks.
It's from...
from my other work. Yeah.
Oh, it's from
Jennifer Convertibles.
Cole made
film noir.
A noir film called Jennifer, where he plays a woman named Jennifer in this blonde wig, and this young man comes in and says, Jennifer, somebody's here to see you. She goes, "It's Miss Convertibles to you." So... And anyway, so when Mark interviewed you, my husband, 3 years ago for the I guess it was the Times. Yes, there was a gay comedian thing. Yes,
yeah.
It was before all of this happened.
Yeah.
And he thinks that maybe the first time it was that you talked about this in print.
Yeah.
You said that you were working on a play, and
and I was so mad at myself for telling him that because I was like, well, now I have to now people are going to ask me about it. And now I'm gonna And what if it's bad? And then I don't want to,
Yeah. Never ever say what you're working on.
Exactly.
It'll wind up in your Wikipedia entry. They'll never forget it unless you actually deliver it, which in this case you did. But when you were talking to him about it, you said my DIY approach, the approach that you used in the past, wasn't going to work now. You sort of realized it wouldn't work to allow you to do something like this, and that you would need real collaborators.
Yeah.
So
enter Sam Pinkleton.
Enter Sam.
Yeah.
So that's my segue
to
thank you. So first tell me a little bit, how did you meet?
We actually met, he choreographed a musical that I was in at Dixon Place called The Material World, which was about Madonna teaching Britney Spears the Kabbalah in the Russian Revolution.
In the tenement in the Bronx.
In a tenement in the Bronx, and it had something to do with. It was written by Dan Fishback. Do you know Dan?
Yes, I
do. That was where we met.
And Sam, you were directing it, or you were?
I was choreographing it. I was choreographing it. It was at Dixon Place.
Yeah.
It was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we didn't speak for 13 years.
It was a
not because
really
of anything
bad
that happened
collaboration.
during
We just didn't. We didn't. Our paths didn't cross. And then when I talked to a few different people about directing it, and then when I talked to Sam, it was just immediate. He got like every Ann Miller reference, and also we were on the same page that we wanted to have the experience feel like what making theater in high school felt like. And Sam is like the best leader, and really made it feel like high school. And even the way the walls wobble when the doors shut, like taking care of all those details to make it seem like a really like a bad high school production that tried really hard.
Well, and we I remember our first conversation, which was mostly about Mayor Winningham, I think.
Yeah, we were like, we want this play to be like something that Mayor Winningham could have been in.
And we also talked about, if anybody's been to McCarter Theater in New Jersey, there's all of these amazing production photos, and there's this production photo of Frances McDormand and Linda Hunt in a production of Three Sisters. Some of you have seen this photo. And I was like, this should feel like that production photo.
Yes.
And when you're making...
I'm completely confusing Mayor Winningham and the production photo of Franny McDormand and Linda Hunt.
In the Three Sisters at the McCarter Theater in Princeton,
And
New
high
Jersey.
school production.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
That's right.
I'm
That's
sort
right.
of getting it now. Yeah.
And the thing that I think we got so excited about, and I think managed to trick a lot of other people into getting excited about, was not like making fun of how crappy that is.
No.
But actually that feeling of like when, you play Daddy Warbucks at 14. And the bookshelf looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, number one, I'm in a documentary. This is completely real life. And also, like, you love it so much.
Yeah.
It's created with so much love. And with our designers and with everybody, every conversation was not like, wouldn't it be funny if we... Like, never. It was like...
They all knew, like, just how much... just how bad it should be. Like,
yes.
We didn't want the walls to actually fall over or like the things to be crooked on the walls, but just enough. Just enough. Yeah.
I mean, and a sense also of cheapness, that it's not a lot of money, and it's sort of a deliberate embrace of. You have talked about your great love of John Waters, which I would imagine who doesn't love John Waters, but that sense of things being kind of tacky and falling apart at the seams, it is an important part of the aesthetic.
Well, and doing the best you can with what you have.
Yes.
Really lovingly.
Yeah.
There was like a moment downtown, I'll never forget it, when our designers, Dots, three amazing people, Kimmy, Andrew, and Santi, were like standing on chairs with staple guns, like all of them in the middle of tech. And I was like, I could be at the Fort Lee Community Playhouse right now doing The Music Man.
Yeah.
Which was the most I've ever loved theater.
Yeah.
So how can we make something from that place?
Yeah.
And was it, when you brought it up from downtown, one of my anxieties, I saw it again last night, I was thrilled by that aspect of it. You're both way too young to have seen Charles Ludlam on stage, but when you would see him do his shows down at the Ridiculous Playhouse, this was really reminded me of that aesthetic, and I was worried that when it came up to Broadway that it would get somehow
Replace me with Mayor Winningham.
Yeah, well, I was that considered.
Yeah.
I still don't see Mayor Winningham. I think she's brilliant.
Just wait.
Oh, okay. I can't. Although Mark had the best idea. I cannot wait to see Titus Burgess do it.
Yeah.
And I've heard Betty Open was amazing. Mark had the best idea for a replacement mayor, Sally Field, of course.
Yeah. Which
Who-
do 3 weeks. Even. Just two performances.
Let's call her right now on
She's down.
speakerphone.
Yes.
Get your phone out. Yeah.
Let's just see.
We'll just see.
I'll tell this really quickly. When I saw that Cole was doing a show called Oh Mary, I immediately texted Sally Field and said, when you're in town, we have to go to see this because this guy is amazing. You have to come see this. And she wrote back immediately and said, I'm in town. Let's go see it. So Sam is married to my former assistant Andrew, and through Andrew, we got tickets. And then I wrote to Spielberg, and I said, I'm going to see Oh Mary with Sally Field. And Stephen wrote back to me and says, I'm in town, I want to see it too. So Mark and me and Sally and Stephen all went to see it on the same night, and that was
amazing.
a fun.
Yeah.
And I was nervous because Sally takes Mary Lincoln very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
I thought, is she gonna like punch me or punch you or something?
Yeah, no, I was
She
nervous too. Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
shrieking her head off. So,
Yeah.
in terms of assembling the rest of the cast, when you were first putting it together, well, tell me a little bit about the development process of it. I mean, like, so you decided that you wanted to work with Sam, you gave him the script, the two of you talked about it, and then were there readings?
There was one reading, and we both agreed that we didn't want, because I'm sure we all have experience of developing things that die in development, and so I was very adamant. I was like, this needs to go into production tomorrow. I don't want. So anyway, we did one.
It's a
Well, and
brilliant
there was
idea for curing
something-
the death and development thing by just not developing
Just don't
it.
develop it.
Don't develop it. Don't develop it. Don't. Develop it.
And there was something really exciting about, again, it's like high school theater, about being like, commit to the thing at 100. You do not have time to doubt it.
Yeah.
Like, we did a table read that Bianca was in.
Yeah.
And that James Scully was in. Cole was also in it. And we just started going. And we put a team together that took it as seriously as we did.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, they all bring their own. I mean, Conrad brings such a gravity to the role of Abraham Lincoln. Bianca is a brilliant actress and comedian, and she's from the downtown performing world as well. And so she, you know, knows about Charles Ludlam and Theater of the Ridiculous. And James is just the best, desperate, needy, romantic lead bottom. I love him. And then actually the most important person in the cast is Tony Mock.
Without question.
Who,
Yeah.
yeah, he's just the most important, yeah.
Yes.
And there's a way that we rehearsed this at La Mama, which was a pretty amazing experience, in a room that the set actually didn't fit in. So we just sort of had to press ourselves against the wall and hope that it looked good. But there's a way that it really, I'm going to say something radical, felt like rehearsing a play. And to your point about Cole having written like when I read the play for the first time, I was like, it's a great play. It's just a great play. And it felt like we were in play rehearsal. And Conrad and Bianca and James and you and Tony are, I think, first and foremost, great actors. The process was never about, wouldn't it be funny if?
Right.
Ever.
Right.
That stresses me out even to say.
Yeah, yeah.
It felt like all the stuff that you do in play practice and taking it
It was more about like, so how do we get the door closed after my entrance? That was literally all.
But, you know, I mean, and it does have all of those wonderful qualities in the high school production and the Theater of the Ridiculous and all that. But it's also like crafted to within an inch of its life. You said in an interview that I think it was with Mo Roca, he says that the running time is about 80 minutes. You said 85, but it should be 82.
Yeah.
And you weren't joking. I don't think it was like. So I wanted to ask about that and about your background as a choreographer, because also the physical action is just insane in this. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it 8 times a week, but it's as hard as doing a dance musical. And you preserve this kind of anarchic spirit while you've crafted something that's this kind of unbelievably precise machine. So,
yeah, we were just talking about her backstage, but I was very, very lucky to know and work with the great Linda Lavin, who is sadly no longer with us. And the first job I ever did on Broadway was I was the assistant director of a play called The Lions. And I remember sitting like right where you are during tech, and I watched Linda, and she went, if I do this, they'll laugh. If I'll do this, they won't laugh. And I was like, what? And she goes, it's math. And I think about it all the time, because this thing and what our designers and our team and our actors have done is so exhaustingly calculated, and it is a tightrope walk. And there, if you fall off either side, it's in the same way that you were saying about the doors. It's like if the wall falls over, it's not that. But if
Yeah.
the wall looks like a fancy Broadway set, it's also not that. And
Yeah.
every single thing, which is why my hair is so much thinner than it was 2 years ago, is a tightrope walk. And like anything good, it's like, and if you see that work, that's not fun.
Yeah.
But most of our 3 o'clock in the morning phone calls are about details that would be embarrassing to share because no one has ever noticed them
Yeah.
in the audience.
Yeah.
This is sort of a stupid question, but because this is like asking somebody, well, how do you act, or how do you write, or how do you, do triple Lutzes, or whatever the fuck it's called. That's ice skating, right? A Lutz.
Can we check? Thank you.
It must be very difficult, though. It was so exciting to see it last night, and to see every routine as brilliant and as funny as I remembered it being. But it didn't have that thing that often happens, to things fairly quickly on Broadway. The audience will redirect the show very aggressive. It's a very aggressive setup, these houses. Keeping it precise, but also completely human and filled with, it's happening in the moment. It didn't feel, I remember seeing Carol Channing do like the 19th, I think her last tour with Hello Dolly, and it was kind of amazing. It was like watching No Theater or Kabuki. She was doing these movements that in 1964 were probably really like the corncob thing, and she'd sort of forgotten what she was supposed to be doing. And
She's just moving her hand where
yes,
it's
she was
like,
kind of doing this thing. I do this thing with the corncob now, and it wasn't really funny anymore. It was just sort of fascinating to watch this. But everything in the show last night, and I'm sure tonight, felt so completely spontaneous and in the moment, as well as perfectly crafted. And I don't understand how that happens.
that goes to, that speaks to Sam, just keeping it tight, and all of us, like the whole cast, willing and wanting to keep it. And like, I come off stage and I like James and I check in every night, and we're like, just dumb things about like, I came in too fast in scene 4, and I think that's why in scene 7 that we didn't like all of that math, and it's just like, I love it. I love it.
And it's so nerdy to say, like, I know it would be so cool if at this Talkback everybody learned that, like, this process has been a nightmare and we hate each other.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like, we love it very deeply, but I think in some ways, more importantly, it has felt from the first second that everybody is working on the same show. And that is so hard to do. And every person in this building is working on the same show, and the North Star is so clear, and it's a really strange and specific North Star that is impossible to describe, but everyone is working on the same show and cares in the most, like, nerdy, embarrassing, wonderful way. So it feels like we are all, like,
Taking care of it.
yeah, looking after this thing.
Yeah, and it does feel completely, it's a company. It feels absolutely like everybody's, it has this deep internal coherence. The other sort of trick, and we were talking about this a little bit backstage, I found it every bit as funny last night as I had the first time I saw it. And the first time I saw it, and this often happens when I watch your work, I found it very moving. I found it even more moving last night. The great "Have you ever had a great day?" scene. In one of your interviews, I did my homework. You can tell. You said, "I'm not a great actor," or "I'm not an actor." You said something dismissive, but I completely disagree. I think that you're actually. I think you're. Well, okay, Mark is screaming it in my head. Stop it. I think you're a great actor, and I really do. As all the really, really great comic actors, not all of them, some of them have no souls, but
Name names.
no, I have learned that. I haven't learned much else, but I've learned. But I found that scene, and of course we're conditioned because the laughs come, with such regularity. I mean, you're just waiting for the next chance to explode. And then the scene starts to happen, and it doesn't immediately deliver. You can feel the audience like getting ready for the fart or
punchline,
whatever
or-
the
yeah,
thing
the
is
fart,
going to
yeah.
fall. It'll sort of, and it does come eventually, although it's wonderfully delayed in that scene. But on the way to the laugh, you go into this really deep place. The monologue's exquisitely written. One of my favorite things is Laura Jean and Sam.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If look up Cole Escola, Laura Jean, and Sam. There are a couple of them.
Yeah, it's called Front Porch Scene. I wrote a scene from a play that doesn't exist.
Yes, and it's like William Inge and Tennessee Williams and some other like Hallmark. It's like,
Yeah.
But again, with an incredible ear for the dialogue, and it's funny, although it doesn't have a lot. And Cole plays both Laura Jean, who's a young woman, and her disturbingly hot boyfriend.
Yeah.
And who sort of mumbles. He's one of your great straight characters.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Toby.
Toby. Yeah.
Yes. Trust me, the best thing that will happen to you, apart from seeing the show tonight, is go and Google Cole Escola and Toby and listen to Toby sing I'm Old Fashioned. It's sheer genius. But so that's a really tricky thing. Both writing and acting and directing, because sentimentality just,
Yeah.
you can still get laughs, but after it's revealed that you're really trying to pick somebody's pocket, they're not going to really trust you and go with the laughs. It can kill a show, and so much of the comedy, and in this comedy, is based on a kind of cruelty, let's face it.
Yeah.
So finding heart in it is really a remarkable thing. So can you talk about that? And I mean,
I hope it's just if it doesn't work. Some nights maybe it works better than others, depending on the audience, depending on me. I just hope that if it isn't working, it's over soon enough that you can keep laughing. But it is important to understand why she is the way she is, and to give like a reason for why she throws Louise down the stairs and why she's miserable. Like she's more afraid of getting what she wants than she is of not getting it.
And we've talked so much. One of the really fun things, sorry, Cole, about getting to do the play with Betty Gilpin and Titus who are very different genius performers and very different from Cole. It teaches you what you made. Over the last year, it's like, oh, what is this thing? And the most beautiful thing, rehearsing it over and over and making new versions of this play with other actors, has been falling more in love with Mary. And we talk so much about not judging her and actually loving her and rooting for her. And, everybody's like wanted something.
Yeah.
And everybody has had somebody tell them they're crazy for wanting something.
Yeah, the show is about someone with a dream that doesn't make sense to anyone around them. And all of the characters want something that they feel like they shouldn't want. And, whether it's as stupid as, like, ice cream on the pussy, like, but, like, but underneath, that's the first time she's ever had an orgasm. And she doesn't understand what just happened. Like, she really wants that, but she feels like she knows she shouldn't. Abe, he shouldn't, he's like, I don't want to be gay, I don't want to be gay. And, Booth wants to be with Abe and is willing to, do whatever it takes to be with him. And then Simon just wants to revel in Mary.
Yes, which is when he comes on as her accompanist
Yeah.
in the cabaret.
Yeah.
That and just the Fosse chair being
Oh,
dragged
yeah.
for no reason whatsoever
Yeah.
from what.
That's always for 4 people. That's always for 4 people. And for a while, we were like, well, if only 4 people are getting it, do we cut it? And we were like, no.
No.
The chair
No.
stays. Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to run out of time. So I want to ask you the thing that I need to ask you. I'm dying to know the answer. First of all, in terms of Oh Mary, I assume you're gonna tour it. You're gonna.
I would love to do it. I feel sort of like that Cherry Jones sort of like responsibility to like bring something to people everywhere, you know? I'm not committing, by the way. I've had no offers. I need to make sure there are enough zeros first. I'm kidding. But I do. I love this play.
And it's Cole, you've written a great play, unfortunately, and I just want to talk more about Betty and Titus. It's a part for that actress that every one of you knows from your theater back home or the theater that you like. It is the part for that actor or actress or whatever who is absolutely uncontainable and genius. Like, I talk all the time. My mother-in-law is huge in community theater in Indiana, and all I think about is like when she will get to do Oh Mary.
Yeah.
It's just like justice for that person.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
I feel like having seen Betty and Titus do it, they brought. It's a part for someone who's like, I think I have things in me that I haven't been able to show yet. And so seeing both Betty and Titus bring whatever those specific things are to them, like, I have this part of me that I never get to show. It's just, that was so rewarding to see them perform that.
And one of my favorite moments in the show, it's very quick, but right before the assassination. By the way, the sign in the lobby, this has strobes and smoke and one very loud gunshot.
Yeah.
Completely brilliant. I had to resist the temptation to steal it and take it home.
People have stolen those signs.
I would imagine.
A lot.
Also, the Cole Escola as Mary Lincoln bust, which is, I have a big Abraham Lincoln bust collection, so I've got to find a way to steal that. At the moment that the two of them enter the box, and there's just, I don't think I'm hallucinating. It's held for just like the exact right amount of time, so that you see Abraham Lincoln and Mary Lincoln in the box at Ford's Theater.
Yeah.
And the play sort of takes, for me, both times that I've seen it, it freezes for a second. And what's tremendously moving is that you've now gotten this whole sort of counterfactual history of these two people, which is both, completely untrue and also exactly true about them, about something in their essence. The thing that makes the Lincolns so, there are many things that make them enduringly of interest to all Americans, but their psyches clearly absorbed the anguish of the country during the Civil War. They didn't hide it. They didn't mask it. They weren't bad actors sort of trying to sort of fake their way through this Holocaustal event. Lincoln looked, like, as Mary liked to say, you look like a country undertaker. He had, his cheekbones got more and more prominent, and he got thinner and thinner, and he wore black and the whole thing, and she wore black, and she looked like hell, and she had the accent and everything. So they incorporated this in themselves, and so you really are getting both your version of Lincoln and the real Lincolns, and it sort of accumulates in that one moment, and it's a tremendously powerful moment.
That was all Sam, and he said, I want this to look like an ad for the next season of Feud. Like,
that is true.
I didn't get that, but I love knowing that that's what's behind it.
Oh, we're getting the. He's saying he's really going
the hook.
like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just really quickly, I'll shut up. Just tell us really quickly. Do you have plans? Are you going to London?
There's no plans, just hopes and dreams.
Many hopes and dreams.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, listen. Again, Can I just want to tell you one last quick thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned to Mo that you have a autobiography of Marie Dressler
Yes.
backstage. So you've watched Tilly's Punctured Romance?
Tilly's Punctured Romance is probably my favorite comedy movie
So
of
great.
all time. It's
And
on
you-
YouTube.
And
Yeah.
you've noticed who's on the wall behind her when she's dressing in that hat with the
No,
ducks?
no.
She. Sorry, just.
We're gonna do the play again after this.
Yeah.
So just stick around.
Abraham Lincoln. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Marie Dressler,
Wow,
the great
maybe-
Marie
oh, yeah,
Dressler.
yeah.
So I wanted to share that with you. Anyway, I wanted to tell you both again, I think this is just a sublime, historically significant, deeply moving, and magnificent work of theater. And I'm really happy to have been able to share the stage with you for this. And, you know,
We are gonna kill ourselves now because we can't believe that
can
you've
I
done
join
this.
you?
Thank you so much.
It's over.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.